right, welcome to First and Faloney. This is episode 4, I believe. Start of week 2. I'm Donovan Faloney, as always, joined with the man himself, Andrew Cooper.
What's
Andrew,
going on?
this might have been the best week 1 I have ever seen, ever. I mean, at least in the last 10 years.
Oh yeah, very competitive games. I thought a lot of surprise teams kind of showed me that they might contend.
Yeah, no, some teams surprised me, some teams didn't surprise me. Um, you know, and we'll try to cover all of that here. We do have a smaller slate of games to pick this week. We only have 8. As it states, for the full season record as of right now, I am 12-3, and you are 11-4. So one game difference. We both split 8-2 last week. But first things first, let's go ahead and talk about it. The big news that came out yesterday or the day before, the college football playoff is being expanded to 12 teams by the latest of 2026. I think it'll get done by 2024. There's just too much money in it. But the way that it works, from my understanding, is the top 4 seeds, which is your normal playoff picture as of right now, get a first round bye. And then seeds 5 through 8 get home field advantage for one game and play the 9 through 12 teams. And the winners play the top 4. What are your thoughts on the expansion to 12? Do you think it's too much, too little, about time?
Nah, I like it. I think it's about time. You might actually get some sleeper teams upset some of these big teams, more of a Cinderella, kind of like college basketball to me.
Yep.
Uh, I mean, I hope it does work out. I do like it. I think. Do you get an extra week or two of football with this?
Yeah, so what it'll do is the playoffs will start the week of Christmas, and then you'll have the first round, that 5 through 12 matchups in the first round, and then you'll have the second round as normal on New Year's Day, and then the championship game will be on the second week of January, usually the 8th or
Yeah.
9th. Um, One thing to note with the playoffs as well, the top 12 teams are going to be 6 conference winners and then the 6 at-large bids. So hopefully that means that we'll get better competition. It won't be at the top 12 teams. We might get some Cinderella stories, like you said, in there. But at the same time, I'm not sure how long this 6 conference winners is going to last, because people are starting to join conferences here and there, as in USC, UCLA going to Big Ten. So we'll go ahead and see on that. We'll go ahead next step here. What are your thoughts? What we'll do, each section, a new section of the show we'll have is game of the week. In my opinion, it was a tough one to pick, so I wanted to see your thoughts first. Which game of the week did you give it to?
Man, it comes down to me between the LSU Florida State and the Florida Utah game to me.
Yeah, I might be with. I wrote down 4 games. Those were 2 of them. The Florida State LSU game was not very good until the second half. Brian Kelly should be fired. He should not be a coach anymore. He should go back to where he crawled out of. But that's a different story. That's me being a salty Notre Dame fan and thinking he's a bad coach for the last 10 years. The Utah Florida game was good. Anthony Richardson, like I said last week, aren't you glad that you switched there? That
Yeah.
he put on a great performance, did well there. I really enjoyed the West Virginia Pitt game, the backyard
Oh
brawl.
yeah,
It was
yeah.
ugly football. They hated each other. The stadium was going nuts. 70,000 at Heinz Field, or Acrisure Stadium, whatever it's called. I think I'd go with the backyard brawl, renewing their rivalries. And in my opinion, it kind of just reinforces, no matter with the conference realignments, you need to have those rivalry games. We see bring back Texas and Texas A&M, bring back the games that aren't being played anymore. That hasn't been played in 10 years, and I thought it was an amazing game.
Definitely was a good one.
Yep. Okay. So game of the week, you think it's either LSU or Florida, or
I'm probably going to have to go with the Florida Utah.
Florida, Utah? Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think coming out of that game as well, I don't think my mind changes on Utah. But my mind definitely changed on Florida. I think Florida has a team. I do, and I think they're back. LSU and FSU, I think, are both going to go 7-5 regardless. Um, but I think Florida's back.
Oh yeah, 100%. They looked really good the other night. Defense was all over the field. I would like to see a little bit more defensive production out of them, though, to make me a true believer that they're going to compete.
Yeah, that tight end kind of ran all over the field. That was Utah's quarterback's favorite target was their tight end, and he had a pretty
Yeah.
solid game. Okay, and then performances of the week. Did you have any key performances? Did anybody surprise you or disappoint you? I have two in mind, but I'm sure
Yes.
one for the same person on one of them.
Yep. I'm going to go with Richardson for Florida. I thought he managed the
Yep.
game well. He uh he kept his poise, he kept his team in it, even though Utah would go up. He still found a way to hit his receivers and play smart football.
Yep.
The disappointment to me was Devin Leary. Wow, did he look
Oh,
awful?
yeah, that's well, you kind of called it. You knew it was going to be a trap game. They had to get it out of their system. Better do it early in the season and build on it, and then to do it later in the season, in my opinion. Those are great picks. The person that surprised me, I wasn't go with Anthony Richardson, but Stetson Bennett, I think, has entered himself into the Heisman race. He put Georgia on its back, and they destroyed Oregon. And then two people that I think were the disappointments of the week is DJ. He just did not look good at all
No.
from Clemson. And then CJ Stroud. I don't think he's going to win the Heisman anymore. I think it's Bryce Young's award to lose. If Anthony Richardson keeps it up, he'll be right up there. Caleb Williams and will be up there. But I think it's Bryce Young's to lose. I think you're right, man. I think he might win it again. So
Yeah.
all right, cool. So we do have 8 games this week. A little bit lighter of a slate. It's not as good as the good of games. I try to pick close ones, and I try to pick ones that are ranked, like we said at the start of the series here, that we're not going to shy away from any of the rougher, more competitive games. We're going to go towards that. So the first one that we have here is Arizona State at Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State is favored by 11 points. Coach Herm Edwards is going to Oklahoma State. What are your thoughts? Who do you got?
Definitely Oklahoma State. I thought Oklahoma State looked good last week. Spencer Sanders is a baller. He's he's very he's very deliberate as far as the play calling goes. The only thing that I want to see out of Oklahoma State is going to have to be the defense. You can't allow. I mean, I know Central Michigan, you still allow 30-something points, but in order for them to contend
44.
and it was 44. Well, in order for them, for me in my eyes, for them to contend in the CFP football playoffs is the defense. I mean, the offense is there, but
Yeah.
their defense is going to have to make stops.
Yep. Yep. That's the thought, right? They were up 51-15, I think, at one point. Something like that, 48-15. So a lot of the points did come in garbage time, 4 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. But I agree. Their defense did not look good. They have freshmen and sophomores on the ends. I think they'll be good by the end of the year. Or not this year, next year. But this is another team that relies on their quarterback, because I don't think Gunnar or Gundy is going to take Oklahoma State there. It's
Nah.
Spencer Sanders' team. And after that, if he goes down, the defense isn't there. I don't think the offense is there either. I'm with you there. I'm going to take Oklahoma State as well. I do think they'll cover. I think they'll beat the brakes off of Arizona State. I don't think the defense is going to be as bad as last week. Next game we have.
Like Herm Edwards.
I do like Herm Edwards, but they lost a lot in the transfer portal this last year. I think this is his last year at Arizona State. So, next game here, we'll go straight to Raleigh. We'll do Charleston Southern at NC State. There's no line on that game right now. We do need to have a pulse check on Uncle Mark and Libby. I know I messaged her
Yeah,
last week and
wouldn't
she was
wouldn't.
stressing out, and I know you were. So, um, what are you guys thinking? I know it's Charleston Southern. I'm guessing they're going to be double digit favorites.
Yeah, to me, what a big disappointment last week, but I knew it was going to happen. Besides the point, though, ECU is going to be very talented in the future. Houston is definitely going to have that program there this year. I believe they will be contending for that title. I thought Holton Ahlers looked really well for ECU. The running back looked really well. The defense stepped up huge. Uh, Big letdown for me. I'm glad NC State dropped in the polls. I'm going to
Yep.
take NC State over Charleston Southern, but I think this is going to be the wake up call, the revenge game. Is Devin Leary going to improve the running back situation? Are they going to stick with Jordan Houston or move on to Demi Sumo? He was impressive. And also the freaking defense. I mean, they got hyped up all summer long. I mean, this game here to me is going to be the one whether it's going to live up to its hype and how good they're going to play, even though it is a subpar team.
Right.
I don't know. A lot of questions this week in Raleigh, so we'll
Yeah.
see. I know it's not. It's going to be an average team. I don't. It is what it is, but I would like to see how they respond after last week.
I don't understand why the ACC decides to schedule tough games at the beginning of the season. I don't understand it. They did it with almost every single team. I know it's ECU. I thought they were going to beat the brakes off of them. I think they should have beat the brakes off of them. ECU surprised me, but I think you're right. It was more of a disappointment on NC State side, unfortunately. I think Devin Leary does make a comeback. I think he's out of the Heisman race because of that game, unfortunately, but I still think he'll have a solid season. That defense is good. That defensive line, I don't know what happened in the second half. Maybe it was the humidity, maybe it was the heat, but the defensive line is nasty. Almost as good as Clemson.
I mean, you can't win. You can't win ball games if you got the wrong read on a tackle and you can't make tackles. You miss one tackle that turns into two tackles.
Right.
I mean, the
Exactly.
offensive line played average. I mean, you got to play great if you want to be. I mean, they fell from 13 to 18 in the poll, and they
Yep.
deserve it. I
Yeah.
was looking for them to fall out.
They dropped 5. Florida moved up to 12 from not being ranked, which I think they deserved. A couple other big drops. Notre Dame dropped, but that wasn't as surprising. I don't think. They played well, but not to that. But yeah, I think you're right. NC State might have been ranked a little too high. I still think they have time to fix it. But time will tell. I guess next who do they play next week after Charleston Southern? Do you
I
know off
want
the
to
top of
say
your head?
it's either Texas Tech or UConn.
Oh, it's Texas Tech. No, it is Texas Tech. It is. It is. And
And Texas
that'll be a
Tech just
test.
lost their quarterback, so that's going to be a test anyway with air raid offense.
Right. And no matter if they did lose their quarterback, they're like you just said, they're gonna sling the ball around the field. So it'll be a test for their safeties. Yeah, no, I agree. I think NC State makes a statement this week. They have to. It's Charleston Southern. Like they have to. If they don't, then well, that's the time to start worrying, I think. Next game, the one that isn't as good. Wake at Vanderbilt. Um,
Really, this was a question mark for me until today.
I
Literally
I
until two
say
hours
not
ago.
being as good. It is the worst one of the remaining ones, I think. Vandy took a step back, in my opinion, from week one. I know it was just Hawaii, but I think they took a step back, and I don't think Wake looked that good. I know they're missing their quarterback,
They
but
don't have Hartman.
right, but going into Nashville at Vandy with Vandy's quarterback, this one was a tough one for me. Wake is favored by 8.5 points. I'm gonna go with the upset. I'm picking Vanderbilt over Wake solely because SEC over ACC. I think it's gonna be closer to a pick 'em. I think it was Wake by 13 at the initial, and now it's Wake minus 8.5. So it's going down. I think it's gonna be closer to a pick 'em by the time the game happens on Saturday. Just a quick reminder, guys, this is being recorded on Tuesday, so we had the very early spread lines.
You still there?
Yep, I'm still here. Sorry. Technical difficulties. That's what we have here at First and Faloney. So sorry about that.
No, you're good. Uh, I really want to show you what I picked, but I picked Vandy to win that game. But I'm going to flop. I think I'm going to take Wake. Sam Hartman is back. They announced that today.
Oh, okay.
So that was the reason why I'm flopping.
Okay.
Uh, I think Sam Hartman coming back, he's going to have a good week of practice. He's healthy. With him being a signal caller, I think it's going to be a whole lot better for Wake. I'm gonna pick Wake in that one.
Do you think there's going to be any rust for him though? That's going to be the question, right? Does he have any
Nah,
rust?
no. He might, but I'm telling you that team changes when he's there.
Yeah.
I'm taking Wake on that one.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a pick 'em. I wonder why. I wonder if it'll change again. Um, okay. I mean, that's a great point there. Didn't know he was back, so we learned stuff on the fly here. Next game I have on the list, South Carolina at Arkansas. Arkansas is favored by 8.5 as of right now.
Yeah, I got Arkansas. Rattler did not look good last week. USC struggled very mightily last week. Arkansas, the thing that I like about them is they were tested with Cincinnati, so you got a good look at how they're going to compete against competitive teams.
Yep.
And I think Jefferson's going to take over in that game. And I like Sam Pittman. He likes to drink cold beer, so how can you turn away from that?
I was wondering if you're going to say that as well. He's going to get himself a Coors Light and nice cold beer there. Not promoting it, but that's what he
Yeah,
said
he's
on the interview. I thought
definitely
that was
not
great.
not promoting it, but he said he was going to have himself a cold beer, so I like him.
Yep. Yeah, no, I thought KJ Jefferson's good. He surprised me last week versus Cincinnati. I picked them to win, like picked Arkansas to win, but I thought he did well enough. Um, with a tougher team. South Carolina, I love Shane Beamer. Spencer Rattler, I don't have any faith in. I think he's overrated. I think he's just as big as a bust as DJ. Um,
I
so I
think they were
picked,
the same draft class.
yeah, I think so as well. I picked Arkansas as well here. Another reason. I mean KJ. I mean it's just KJ. Pick the quarterback because everywhere else I think they're about the same. And it's at Arkansas. If it was at South Carolina, that might change my mind. But since it's at Arkansas, we'll go Woo Pig. Um, all right, here, next one. This one I think is going to be an interesting game. Um, I kind of was flip flopping on this one as well, and I know I shouldn't have been. Alabama at Texas. Bama's
Oh
being
my
favored by
god!
20. Um, I have faith in Quinn Ewers. He looked okay in his first start as a sophomore, but Bama rolled. Bama's favored by 20. Uh I'm picking Bama, but I really want to take Texas. They're favored by 20. Bama's going to roll, but I really want to take Texas.
We'll take them.
No, I'm not going against Nick Saban. Not until
All
Georgia.
right. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm taking Bama. I mean, how do you bet over them? Quinn Ewers look good, but I think Bama wins. I just don't think Texas is ready for the big time yet.
Not yet.
I
Give them
think
2 years.
Sarkisian needs one more year to get a few more recruits in.
Yep.
Uh, I think Ewers is going to have more than a rough day of getting his car towed. I can tell you that. I think he's going to
Will,
he's going to be he's going to
Will
be on his back
Anderson.
quite a bit.
Will Anderson's going to tow his card on the field, I think, as well. I, yeah, I want to say Texas is back. It's overreaction, but I'm with you. Alabama's going to win. Bryce Young looks better than he did last year. It's going to be Georgia, Bama, I think, in the championship game now, unless somehow they have to play each other before then. But I'm with you. Bama there too. But I want to say Texas. I'm going to be rooting for Texas now because we both picked Bama. So I'm cheering for Texas, but Bama's going to win. Three more games left. And I think they're all going to be pretty good ones.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
Let's go ahead and knock out the late game. Baylor at BYU. BYU is favored by 3.5. Do you know what they did against South Florida last week? I don't remember.
Oh, they blew him out the water, but I mean it's South Florida.
Did they blow
South
them out the
Florida
water?
has fell off.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was like 50 something to 40, 14 or something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm
BYU is a
not betting
tricky
against
one.
Baylor.
No,
I'm taking Baylor.
I don't think
I'll
I
tell you what,
am.
I will say this: BYU's running back, he's nasty. He had 13 carries last week for 135 yards.
Yeah.
But
And
the game is at BYU. Baylor won't test it at all last week. BYU looked good, but USF has fallen off too
yeah.
in the last 4 or 5 years. This is going to be a question mark, but I really think Baylor's going to prevail. I mean, they're in the top 10, so it's hard to bet against them.
I think it's a top 10 matchup. Yeah, Baylor beat the brakes off of Albany. I love Aranda. He should have been the USC coach, in my opinion, because he's a Cali guy. He's an LA guy. Um, BYU beat him by 29 points. It looks like you're right, and they scored garbage touchdowns. It was the third quarter. They scored 14. So, BYU is a tough one, man, because you never know what you're going to get with
You
them.
know,
Like you can
the
always
Mormons, the Mormons play.
and I picked Baylor initially, and this is another one I've been flip flopping between two. The other two games I know who I'm picking, but um, Baylor I've been kind of going back and forth with as well with BYU because the Big 12 is notorious for not having a defense, and we didn't get to see their defense get tested last week. BYU is known for having a solid defense and a solid offense. Nothing flashy, nothing major. Um, with Zach Wilson kind of bringing that team to prominence again, and 2 years later they're still in the top. I think it is a top 10 matchup. I want to say I could be wrong there. I can check real quick
No
maybe.
way.
Um,
I don't think Baylor jumped up that much in the polls.
or BYU, you mean?
I meant, yeah, BYU.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll check here, but I think I'm gonna go with Baylor as well. If it was at Waco, I would be more inclined to be more solid on this. I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be right now. It's favored by 3.5. I think it's going to be. I think it is going to be a field goal game, field goal to 7 points game. I think it's going to come down to the fourth quarter. It's just which team can kind of go away with it. Um, yeah, I want to pick BYU, but I'm going Baylor as well as the underdogs. Um, just looking here real quick. Yeah, no, Baylor's 9, BYU's 21. I was wrong. Um, so yeah, we have that here. We're both on the same page there. Only one game that we've differed so far, and I don't think we're going to differ in these two games. Tennessee at Pittsburgh. It's in Heinz Field again, or Acrisure Stadium again. Um, Tennessee. I think Hendon Hooker is great.
Uh-huh.
I don't
Oh yeah.
know if Pitt's going to be able to slow down that offense.
Dude,
Tennessee's
they
defense
struggled against West Virginia in JT Daniels' first start.
which West Virginia should have won that game. That interception is
Oh,
not
yeah,
JT
without
Daniels'
a doubt.
fault. So, um, yeah, I'm picking Tennessee. They're favored by 6.5. I have them winning by at least 2 scores. I,
Oh
I
yeah.
don't
I mean,
I
to
don't
me
think it's gonna be
though,
close.
Pitt escaped last week. That's all that was. And I mean, in order for Pitt to win, that defense is going to play a heck of a lot better.
Yeah, it's gonna be
But I
loud.
mean, I tell
It
you what,
is. It's
that running back Hammond looked really good last week too against West Virginia.
and the other running back too. His last name starts with an A, and I cannot not pronounce it, but he looks pretty good too. He was doing really well. Um, Tennessee, I think their defense has improved. They're my preseason dark horse. I think they can range anywhere between 8 and 4 wins and 11-1. I would go to say. Um, I'm going Tennessee as well. I'm going Tennessee big. And then the last game of the night here we have is Kentucky at Florida. I have a
I
couple
learned my
nuggets on
lesson
this
last
one.
week.
You say that again?
I said I learned my lesson on.
Last week? Yeah. I think we're both picking Florida here. I don't think Kentucky that uh their quarterback was it Levis? Um I don't think he's that great. He's only had like one or two games where he's thrown over 200 yards in his career. Um, I think Florida goes out. This is a statement game for Florida after last week. They're favored by 4.5 points. Um, I think this is another 10-point game. I think Florida wins pretty
Well,
handily.
you gotta think you're in the swamp. Another night game.
Yep.
Uh, I do like Billy Napier. To me, I want to see the offense score a little bit more earlier instead of having a 3-and-out. And I kind of want to see Florida's defense step up just a tad bit more.
Yeah. I think you will see that. Like I said, I think Kentucky's overrated. I think they're getting hyped because their quarterback. I don't know why he's an NFL prospect. I don't see it. I think he's a bust. Um, but maybe we're wrong. But those are our picks of the week. I'm gonna go over a couple locks of the week. I'm not gonna go inside. Yeah, I will. I'm gonna go a couple games inside the games that we've picked, and just spit your thoughts of this as well. I think I'm gonna go OSU or Oklahoma State over 58 points in the Oklahoma State Arizona game. That's total points. So Arizona State as well. I think they're gonna hit 60 again total. I don't trust that defense, and Spencer Sanders is amazing. So I think we have 58 there. I'm going to take Michigan's over as well. Michigan is playing Hawaii. This over is at 67.
Good God.
And Vanderbilt put up 60 on them. I don't, it's still a quarterback battle, which I think um, McCarthy won the job last week, but we'll see. So those two are going to be fighting for their position. So I think over 67, that's kind of a bold statement, but I think so. Hawaii's going to Ann Arbor, so traveling as well there. You have any thoughts on those two games?
Uh, I'm going to take Michigan on the under on that one.
Okay. This is a rare coup lock of the week. We'll say Michigan under.
Yeah, I don't. Hawaii might score 10 points, but I don't see. I see Michigan winning 41-10.
41-10. Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah.
I just the reason why I'm picking the over even at 67 points is because of the quarterback battle that they're having. I mean, they're both going to try to prove each other, prove to be the better one. But I can see that as well. So you'll hit the under. You're hitting the under big, which is I could see it. Another one I'm going to hit. I like Texas A&M, Appalachia State to go over 52.5. I think Appalachia State proved that they can.
Yeah, but I think Appalachian State's playing a way better defense. They're playing a way better defense this week.
Yeah, I would
Carolina's
say
garbage.
it's gonna shoot out about 56, 57. So if it goes above 52.5, I wouldn't take it for the fans who are in sports betting states. And we don't know anything about anything. We're just a bunch of regular guys here talking about football. So I think that might be there. And then there's I want to take one more, but I'm not sure what I want to take. You know what? I'm gonna get ballsy here.
Take the Bama.
Yep.
Take the Bama Texas game.
I'm gonna take the points and I'm gonna pick Texas plus 20. So because the line is at 20 right now, so that just means I get 20 additional points. That one I'm least confident with, but I'm going to take Texas plus 20. I still think Bama will win outright, but Texas plus 20. Cool. All right. Well, a shorter episode this week. We did cover a lot. Next week, we'll have a little bit more games, I think. We'll talk a little bit more about the week ahead. Week 3 is not going to be as good as week 2 or 1, I don't think. We'll start talking about conference schedules. And then we might have a couple guests coming up here soon. So family, friends, fans, if you guys are interested and you want to be on the show as a guest picker, talk about college football for the whole episode, let us know. Shoot me an IM on Instagram at First and Faloney, or feel free to reach out to either Coop or myself, and we'll get in touch. We'll all three talk and kind of discuss it. But that's all that I have. Any closing words for the people at home here?
Nah, not really. Like I said, it's gonna be tough to beat week 1.
It is. That was an amazing week 1. I think we're gonna have a huge letdown. I think they might have done it because NFL is starting on Thursday. But we do have a couple good games, at least on Saturday. There's one good game at each time slot. So Texas and Alabama's at noon. Kentucky or Pitt and Tennessee and Pittsburgh's at 3:30, and then Kentucky, Florida's at 7. So there should be good games at each level. So we'll have a good Saturday here of watching college football. All right, guys. Thanks again. Be a friend, tell a friend. If you didn't like this show, don't tell a friend. Just move on, keep it moving. How you doing? Keep it moving, right? Thanks again, guys, and we will see you next week.